introduce myself. My name is Ho. H to the OV. I used to move snowflakes by the OC.
Hello, fans of all ages. We are indeed the Beasts of the East. Ryan Morgan, Scott Thompson here with you on this Monday, October 26, 2015, here at Ramapo College of New Jersey in Mahwah, New Jersey, Studio A on WRPR 90.3 FM. We are joined by a fellow Old Bridge Knight. He works for Blue Colt Radio at Middlesex County College. His name is Matt McFeely. Matty Ice.
Thanks a lot, guys. Good to be here.
You are in the best mood right now.
So
happy. You got the Mets shirt on.
I've never been this happy in my life, actually, I would argue.
I love it. All right, Matt, before we get into everything, tell us a little bit about Blue Colt Radio. What do you do? You know, the whole gist.
We have a sports show over there called The Lead. It's an hour on weekdays, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Go over that. I also write a sports spot every day that's not read off by me on the air, but it's early in the morning, just kind of a rundown, what's coming tonight, just in New York sports in general.
That's recorded or is that live?
It's live.
Oh, okay.
It's a live spot. Just with the rest of the news that goes on. Yeah.
All right, sweet. So check out The Lead, Matt McFeely on the air Tuesdays and Thursdays, 11 to 12 11 a.m. to 12 noon. You can download the Blue Colt Radio app. You can check it out on, what's the website? BlueColtRadio.com?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
So go check him out. He'll be on the air tomorrow. You'll be on tomorrow, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Why were you on this week? You were sick or something?
Just didn't.
Didn't feel? Yeah, that happens.
I come on the show and I get put on the spot right away. Why weren't you on last week? Why weren't you? I mean, you know.
Oh, yeah, it happens. All right, so first things first, New York Giants back in first place in the division. Not very convincing, but you know what? All that matters is the win. And Giants are 4-3. They took down the Dallas Cowboys 27-20. And I got to be honest with you, as poorly as the run defense was yesterday, they had up 250 yards or something like that on the ground. I am very surprised that they stopped the Cowboys on their final drive after Dwayne Harris's kick return for the touchdown. I mean, I know that it's Matt Castle playing quarterback, but the Giants' defense is not a good defense.
It's not a good defense, but they're the reason they won the game yesterday. Eli had 170 yards, no TDs. We don't see that from Eli ever.
No.
Ever at all. And we were talking about how the run defense was awful yesterday. Darren McFadden had 152 yards.
McFadden did play he looked very fast yesterday.
Very convincing that he could be the front runner now for the Cowboys running game, but their defense was the reason they won. You had 3 interceptions, the defense and special teams. You had the Dwayne Harris 100-yard kickoff return. Was it good? No. But they did the job, and they came out with the win. But there's a lot of questions still there after this week.
Really not a convincing win to me. Because you look at last week, I mean, they're in first place in the division. We get it. But last week they were embarrassed by the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yep. And even yesterday was embarrassing also.
This week,
really think about it.
But you're in first place. You had to win the game. And you won it the way you had to. You took advantage of some backups on offense. Yep. But Des Bryant's going to be back soon. Tony Romo's going to be back soon. And Dallas is still the front runner in the division, I think.
I agree 100%. People are sleeping on the Cowboys. When they come back, when Tony Romo is, you don't even have to think about Des Bryant. Tony Romo in general, the Cowboys can't win without Tony Romo. Francesco was saying it on the air before. Backup quarterbacks cannot be starting quarterbacks. It just doesn't happen. Their IQ is a lot higher. Their skill set is a lot higher. The Cowboys miss Tony Romo a lot more than they miss Des Bryant because look at the grab. Did you see the catch that Terrence Williams had? And then the next play, I don't know who it was, but it was Santonio Holmes in Super Bowl 43 all over again. So the Cowboys are really missing Tony Romo. And if you think that the Cowboys are the worst team in this division because statistically they're in last place, then you're out of your mind. Because once they come back, the Cowboys are still a very dangerous team. The thing that I learned yesterday, the Giants are not good. They are not a good football team.
Overall, they're not a good football team, but there's sparks, there's lights, like we saw Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie. Those weren't just regular interceptions. He had great coverage, and he stepped to the ball quick. The secondary is definitely improving. Landon Collins is finding his role now, and it's more of you just need that solid core all the time. Prince Mukamura getting hurt. You can't have these people bouncing in and out. John Beeson. And it's just, it comes down to, like you said, Tony Romo's coming back. Des Bryant is coming back. And Brandon Weeden and Matt Castle, they were starting quarterbacks at one point. So
Matt Castle took the Pacers to. I mean, they were the
11-5
Patriots. They were 11-5.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
wasn't a bad Kansas City Chief either.
No. So it's, are they backups? No, but they give the Giants some props there. They faced starting quarterbacks, former starting quarterbacks, and did a pretty good job at that. It's just, like you said, they aren't a good team right now. They have their lights, they have their sparks, they have their little flames lit up in the offense and defense, but just putting it all together to make that bright flame whole, that's what they need to figure out.
Yeah. I mean, a weird trio. I mean, we saw weird things yesterday. Special teams touchdown. We don't see that every day from the Giants.
Dwayne Harris runs sideline to sideline. We've known that.
We've been.
He ran straight. He wasn't even touched
Yep.
in that, and that was my eyes lit up from that.
And then
wasn't
Orleans
expecting that.
Darkwa. Brandon and George were saying this an hour ago on their show, G&V Sports. What is his role now?
I have no clue.
I don't think he has one.
I never knew what the rushing situation was for the Giants because Rashad Jennings getting how many touches yesterday? You got 5 touches. Orleans Darkwa gets 8 touches. Shane Vereen gets 4 touches. They flop in and out. It's just like
They spread. It's like the receivers.
it's like the receivers, but it's also like the Cowboys rushing that before yesterday. I mean, Darren McFadden took over in the middle of the game, but they've been going to Joseph Randall, and Whitehead's been getting the ball, and they've been running jet sweeps with what's his face? Terrence Williams has been doing jet sweeps at times. So there's really no identity for the rushing. It's just who wants to step up and have a good game. And Orleans Darkwa, only 48 yards, but he had a great run. He had a touchdown run. So who knows what's going to happen?
The Giants are the definition of a committee backfield.
Yep.
They really are.
Yep.
Absolutely. It's whoever can block, whoever can catch a ball.
I don't care who it is. If you get the job done.
The Giants used to be a ground and pound team. No doubt, but they're not that team anymore.
Yep.
You need guys who can.
But the thing is, they can be because you have. Well, I mean,
Rashad Jennings and Andre Williams are big guys.
Andre Williams stinks, and
He was a Heisman candidate.
I
at
know.
one point.
Well,
Anything.
he stinks because you can't have a power back with this kind of offensive line. It doesn't
Exactly,
work.
exactly.
Andre Williams can only push so much. The O-line has to push him. Andre can't push the O-line. That's what Williams does. And Rashad Jennings, we say it all the time. He's huge. He's not a 5'10", 5'11" guy. He's 6'2", jacked out of his mind. He has to be 220, 230 of pure muscle. He has the potential to be a very quality all-around running back. And we've seen sparks of it. Last week against Philly, he had a couple nice carries. Against San Fran, against Dallas yesterday. I mean, I get they're not quality defensive lines, but Jennings can provide a very good spark, but it all goes back to the whole offense and how they spread everything out. And we'll talk about it again because last week we went off about Odell not getting the ball, and we said the Giants have to win. If the Giants are going to win, they have to give it to Odell. They proved us wrong, but they also had 4 turnovers, a pick six, and a kickoff return for a touchdown. Matt said they are a running back a committee backfield, and I don't think that's going to work.
No.
I don't think that's going to work for a very long time.
I mean, they don't have an offensive line. Plain and simple. You can't create. If you can't create the holes, you can't blame the running backs if they don't have the holes.
Mm-hmm.
And Rashad Jennings can only run through so many people. I mean, we could see that he's trying to be almost like a Brandon Jacobs type. I'm going to get my yards because I'm going to run through you.
Yep.
But he doesn't have a hole to start. And that goes for anyone. Darkwa found a tiny little hole. I didn't even see him, and then he popped out and got through. So that was luck in my point. Just going forward, Dallas's defense, we showed they have a great defense. They have good linebackers. They have a good defensive line now. Their defense shut down the rushing game. So going forward, if you look at this Giants team and try to focus on their rushing game, it's not there anymore. Mm-hmm. So Eli definitely has to step up. We saw yesterday that he really didn't.
He did his job.
that much.
I wouldn't say he stepped up, but he did what he had to do. Yeah, 4-3. This is what I expected them to be
At this point,
at this point. But I said it last week. You're a little upset because they could be 6-1,
obviously.
and none of their wins have been all too convincing. They barely got by for what is right now a bad Dallas Cowboys team. They barely got by a pretty bad San Fran team. Washington, they let up a lot of garbage points in the fourth quarter, and they didn't barely get by them, but Washington made it a little interesting. And who was their other win against?
We should know this.
I don't know.
I forget.
Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Buffalo was a convincing win.
Buffalo was a good game, yeah.
Buffalo was a convincing win, and the run D was really good. They stopped Carlos Williams. Yesterday, the run D just collapsed. I think it was a lot to do with McFadden, and obviously the Cowboys' O-line, but
Darren McFadden is coming into his own now. He needed to get away from Oakland because Oakland didn't have that line.
right.
Now that he's behind a good offensive line, like he was, if you go back to his days at Arkansas,
Yeah.
he had a great O-line, and that's why he came out of the draft as one of the top running backs, because when you give McFadden space, he can either A, run you over, or B, break your ankles. So he is that guy as long as he has that offensive line, and now that he has it, I don't understand why Joseph Randle was the front man, because I think Darren McFadden is twice the running back that Joseph Randle is.
Well, McFadden was the backup because McFadden's injury prone. They didn't want to take that risk.
I don't know that it has much to do with McFadden, actually.
Really?
I think
I
you
disagree.
could probably throw Trent Richardson on the team and he'd accidentally fall through a couple holes. I mean, DeMarco Murray's playing some good football now, but he struggled big time those first 5 games, whatever it was. And, he had an MVP caliber season last year.
Yeah, see, that's why I disagree with you, because I think that if they named McFadden the starting running back, and McFadden's injury prone, if you, let's say he was the starter, and you got your offense prepped up for McFadden being the starter, then he gets hurt, then you got to go through the whole scheme again, and then try to find yourself another running back. So I think, is McFadden better? When he's healthy, yeah. But I don't think they wanted to take that risk of finding a whole new offense with a hurt running back. I mean, I don't know how much you have to change your offense. I've never played football. I'm not much of a schemist about it. I know football enough to have a radio show about it. That's about it.
Real quick, I want to know your opinion. How pissed off do you think that Odell Beckham Jr. is right now? On this standpoint, every opposing team that he goes to, he gets absolutely demolished. Everyone's calling him a prima donna. I understand where this guy is coming from. He's getting held, hands to the face, and some of it's just not even being called, and he's getting called. I mean, yesterday, Brandon Carr was all over him.
Yeah.
All over him, not on legal standpoints. He should have had at least a couple flags on him, and you saw Odell screaming at the refs walking off. Where do you think, how pissed off you think Odell Beckham Jr. is? Because I don't blame Eli Manning for not throwing the ball because he doesn't look open. But Odell's got to tell him, listen, I'm getting held. I'm getting pushed after the 5 yards. These guys, they can't keep up with me. Throw me the ball because I'm going to get a flag soon at some point.
I think that I don't know where I stand with Odell, because I did think that he was a little bit of a prima donna, but he is getting
This is the thing.
demolished.
I see where he's coming from. Yes, does he
Right.
complain
Now-
about it
now
a
you
lot?
kinda
Yes,
get
but
it.
now I really do see
Now
where he's
you get
coming from, especially facing Byron Maxwell last week.
I think he's mad, but the guy is in his second year of the NFL. This guy, you might want to say it, you might want to think it because he's in the NFL, he's making millions of dollars, but at the end of the day, he is only 23 years old. We know a lot of 23-year-olds who are not very mature, and as much athletic ability that you might have, it doesn't matter. I said it on George and Brandon's show before. We were talking about Josh Gordon and him being, if you want to draft him, keeper leagues, whatever. Some guys don't get it. Some guys don't get it. And Odell, I don't think he has gotten it yet. I think that should he be getting some of these calls? Yeah, because if he's getting held all over the place, then you got to
I
throw
mean,
the flag.
it's clear as day if you look at the replay. Even Troy Aikman being Troy Aikman, I just feel like he's a giant hater for some reason.
Right.
He just
Well,
can
he was a
never
Cowboy
give
for
him.
years.
Yeah, he can just never give him anything positive. He was like, Odell's just getting help. Brandon Carr is not the guy to cover him because he's obviously getting.
You were nodding your head when I said that
Yeah.
he was a prima donna. So
I think he is. Also,
he
I,
can't
but,
right.
but
He can
I,
be,
I don't think it was fair to draw parallels between him and Josh Gordon and guys like that because those are guys that really, really don't get it and can't play in the league.
Right.
Although Beckham's not that.
Because Odell is a little smarter
Yeah.
than Josh Gordon and idiots like that.
I just don't understand. If you're a quarterback, you go to your number one receiver when you need him, and it's just to me 7 games in, you saw what this guy did last year.
Yep.
You utilized him really well. It's not like these cornerbacks have been like, oh, we understand what you're doing now. Odell Beckham is still creating space. He's still yards after catch are insane. I just don't understand why Eli is not throwing him the ball. And I don't even think it's Eli. I think it's McAdoo trying to spread the wealth, but there's only so much you can do.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, but there's been so many times where Odell Beckham should have gotten the ball in pressure situations.
I think a lot of it has to do with Victor Cruz not being healthy. I think that Ruben Randall is not a number 2 receiver.
No.
He's not. Scott called me yesterday after Ruben Randall had 10 yards after the catch because he just doesn't get it. I mean, yesterday he ran out of bounds. The guy's playing hurt. You play football. Take a hit. You get hit in the chest, it's not going to hurt your hamstring anymore.
He would have gotten hit from behind. He would have gotten his legs tapped.
I know. Whatever.
Anyway.
But anyway, they can only throw. Here's where I'm going to play devil's advocate on myself. Because I think that they should be throwing the ball to Odell every single play. Odell had a clutch
every
first down.
single
Well,
play,
yeah. But
I get what you're saying.
he had a clutch first down, and then the next 3 balls went to Larry Donnell and Ruben Randall.
Exactly.
Like 1 or
I'm
2
saying
of them were
I don't
dropped.
think Larry Donnell should be getting the same amount of targets as Odell Beckham Jr.
Larry Donnell had 3 targets in the first drive. I mean, he caught all of them. Thank
I know,
God.
but I see right here 4 receptions for the both of them. 4 receptions for the both of them. Ruben Randall gets two receptions as well as Dwayne Harris. I get spreading the wealth. I get it. But you have a superstar top 5 wide receiver, in my opinion, on your team. I don't care if it's the second year in the league. You're going to throw him the ball because of what he did last year, what he's proven he can do. If you want to win games, if you want to throw up the score in the first half, that's what you do. You got to give your players the ball. Because what does that do? We're going to double team Odell Beckham. Then Ruben Randall's open. Then Dwayne Harris is open. You can't give them the ball in those situations, in my opinion.
And that's why I said it all goes back to Victor Cruz, because you can only throw to, if Odell's getting 15, 20 targets a game, then you're obviously going to double team him. McAdoo loves spreading the wealth. We saw it yesterday even in the running game. Dwayne Harris and Donnell are getting as many targets as Odell. That's how it is. But going back to being held, maybe Eli doesn't see it. Maybe Eli looks at Odell, sees that he's being held. But if I'm a quarterback and I see someone being held,
I'm throwing the ball.
I'm throwing the ball because it's going to be a flag. Because you can't touch anyone in the NFL anymore.
You see Aaron Rodgers do it all the time.
The pass interference that it was on the Cowboys. It was an offensive I think it was offensive pass interference. Yeah, the Cowboys scored a touchdown, and it got called back because of offensive holding, and no one was touched. Just throw the ball. As soon as you see a guy getting held, throw the ball.
But you guys said it yourself, Odell Beckham Jr. is not getting all these calls. He's not getting all these flags. So if you're a quarterback and you see, maybe it's a hold, but that's tight coverage, you're afraid to throw that football.
Because he's not getting the calls.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's a good point. I think they have to feed Odell the ball, though. He's their best receiver. You can argue he's one of the best. You can argue he's the best receiver in the league. He burns everyone through even some holding calls. The catch he made on Brandon Carr, he got tackled. We saw last year Richard Sherman was holding him like there was no tomorrow, and he was
Brandon
still
Carr also
burning
didn't
him.
want what happened last year to happen to him.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
A little touchy yesterday.
But yeah, I mean, big win for the. Let's go to the win in general for the Giants. They could have went 1-3 in the division, and now they have a really good shot at being 4-2 in the NFC East. You cannot win the division going 3-3. You can't.
No.
And especially when two of those losses are to the same team who can be better than you. To win this division, you have to either A, split with everyone, or be 4-2.
Absolutely.
Because people don't realize how important these division games are. Because the first thing that comes up is for tiebreakers is division records.
I don't care why. I don't care if people look at the NFC East and say this is the worst division in the league, and they say it all the time.
Yep.
But it doesn't matter. For being a Giants fan, we have seen that no
Yep.
matter how bad people think the Cowboys are, no matter how bad they think the Eagles are,
The division,
even the
in general.
Redskins, when they come in to MetLife Stadium or the Giants travel out, it's a whole different monster. The team just seems to find its way, and I'm sorry, but the NFC East is such a hard division
Yeah.
on that aspect, because you can
Last
look at
4
any
years,
other,
4 different teams.
you can look at any other division and say, okay, so Seattle's going to play San Francisco. Or wait, are they even? Yeah. So Seattle's going to play San Francisco. You know really who's going to come out of that
Yeah.
victorious. You look at Giants, Cowboys, Giants, Eagles. You literally have no
no
clue.
idea.
It's a 50-50 shot every time. So, like you said, Giants going forward, playing the Saints next week. Saints had a good game against the Colts, who just really can't seem to find their way right now. And the Saints are a different team now too. So again, Saints rushing D yesterday. Stop Frank Gore. Let's see what happens.
Yep.
This upcoming week. But I want to talk about the Jets now.
Yeah, definitely.
I really
no,
want to
Matt's
talk about
pumped
the Jets
about that. Matt's a big Met fan. Met fan, obviously, and Jet fan. Jets losing to the Patriots 30-23, excuse me. And if you believe in moral victories, this is the time where you take it. Because they played unbelievable. They played very well.
But the 4-12 Jets were playing the same game against the Patriots. The Jets always come within at least a touchdown against the Patriots. I don't buy moral victories at all, especially here.
Right.
Because I do think the Jets can hang. We know they can hang with the Patriots, and I think they could beat the Patriots. But one thing I wanted to touch upon was just listening to the radio today. I've heard a couple people, and maybe this is just the whole you're a New York fan, so you overreact. I've heard a couple people talking about give Geno Smith a shot. You got to see what you have in Geno Smith. Please stop it. I don't want to hear about that. Ryan Fitzpatrick's been great for the Jets.
Yep.
He really has been. And I think would you agree that the Jets are a playoff team right now?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We
said
know they're
this-
contenders, but I think they're a playoff
We
team.
said this in the beginning of the year. We said it in preseason. I really think that the Jets, whether it was a wild card or even if they win the AFC East, they were making the playoffs this year.
Yep.
Defense wins championships, and they
Have some defense.
undoubtedly are the best defense in the league.
Yeah.
So you can't make a change and risk that playoff berth
Yep.
that you probably have going for you. Anyway, just about the Patriots game. The Jets played a good game. They were in it till the last second of the game, actually. And, it's one of those we'll get them next time type of games.
A couple of things that just didn't go their way. I mean, the thing that hurt the Jets was that they could not take advantage of all the drops that the Patriots had. LaFell had 5. The Patriots in general had 10 or 11. And then you look at that and say, wow, the Jets should have won that game. But then you look at Brandon Marshall, the drop touchdown in the end zone. Then they go for 3. Even Marshall, which wasn't really his fault because it's hard to do a no-huddle offense with 1 second left and everyone's going, kind of a bad play call. But Marshall wasn't onside for that, and the 10-second runoff. A lot of things that could have went the Jets' way didn't. If Marshall catches that touchdown pass, it's a completely different game. I think that you said you don't believe in moral victories. I don't necessarily either, but I do when I expect what the result was, and I expected the Patriots to win. And I said it on Wednesday. Unless if it was just a complete blowout, we are going to see what the Jets are really made of. And you know what? You can't really blame the Jets as much because you got to give Tom Brady credit. 5 handoffs the entire game.
Yeah.
The Jets knew what was coming, and they couldn't beat them.
Isn't it amazing how many different ways that team can beat you?
I know.
It's just, last week they're having no-name running backs pounding the ball over you, and then you got to play the Jets. You can't run the ball. He throws the ball. How many times did Tom Brady throw the ball yesterday?
54.
54 times. It's unbelievable.
That's how good he is. That's how good Belichick is. That's how good Brady is. That's how good this team is. And people are saying that the Patriots are 6-0 but they beat the Jaguars, they beat the Jets, blah, blah, blah.
They're the best team in football.
They are the best team in football, and it's not that they beat the Jaguars by a touchdown. They demolished the Jaguars. What was the spread in that game? 14.5 or something like that? And they won by 40. The Jets are not a bad team at all. Dallas, I mean, I guess you can call that a whatever because Dallas hurt is a really bad team. We just went over it. The Patriots are the best team in the NFL because they have the best quarterback of all time. It's that simple.
I mean, looking at the game, I'm going to completely agree with Matt.
Yeah.
I don't believe in moral victories either. If I'm the Jets and I want to make a statement about how good my team is now,
Then
I
you
want to
wanna
go
win
into
that game.
Foxborough and win that game. And they should have won yesterday. In
Yeah.
my opinion, they should have won. I don't
Yeah.
care that Tom Brady is your quarterback. Their defense failed on them at the
Yep.
end of the game.
Good point.
Look at Gronkowski's touchdown. Completely unscathed. They needed them to get a field goal. I didn't really see a lot of urgency from them. Granted, yes, it's Tom Brady. I
Right.
get that. But it came down to if you really think you have the best defense in the league, they showed that throughout the entire 1 through 3 quarters and a little bit into the fourth that they are the best defense in the league. They stopped Tom Brady. He's got so many weapons in Amendola and Gronkowski. Now with Brandon LaFell back, he has Brandon LaFell. Granted, Ryan, I don't think that's going to happen again. He's definitely going to
Yeah.
be a top receiver for Tom Brady, and 1 through 5 is a top receiver for Tom Brady. So they did a great job yesterday. If you want to look at it as a moral victory, yes. But for me, it wasn't. I think that the Jets should have went in there. I picked them to win against the Patriots. So when they play them again,
Yep.
I don't think that the Patriots are going to come out as winners because I think the Jets are definitely going to evolve. Like you said, Ryan Fitzpatrick, I think, should stay as a starter right now.
Without a doubt.
He's doing a great job. He had 11 less rushing yards than Chris Ivory did yesterday. This guy was running all over the place. He's throwing the ball. He had 2 TDs, 295 yards. He's doing a great job.
If you're a Jets fan, as much as you would have liked to win that Foxborough game, if you look at the next few games, because the way you draw up the schedule is you want to go at least 3-1 every 4 games, right? You draw it up into
Absolutely,
quarters.
yeah.
So the Jets go 3-1 the first quarter of the season. Second quarter, you beat the Redskins. You lose to the Patriots. You weren't supposed to beat the Patriots. Then you get the Raiders and the Jaguars. Then after that, you get the Bills and the Texans. There's a lot of winnable games on this schedule. The
they
Jets
can-
should win 10, 11 games.
They can be 7-3 after week 10, and then 7-3 after week 11, I should say. Then you're home against Miami. The Jets are probably going to be favored. And
I don't know about Miami. I don't know what team that is.
Miami, we don't know yet. The Giants, not sure yet because the Giants are home. If the Jets were home, Jets would be favored.
the same
Miami
game. It doesn't
played
matter. It's
a
home, isn't it?
beat up and just completely confused Texans team.
Yeah.
I don't think Miami is going to be even a thought in my mind going into the latter half of the season.
No, I don't think they're contenders for the division. It's a 2-horse race between the Jets and the Patriots.
Yeah, absolutely.
But can the Dolphins maybe
Make a
play
statement.
spoiler a little bit? Yeah.
No, I think the Dolphins are going to play the executioner and maybe take out one of these two teams basically if they play a bad game because the Dolphins do have that potential, as we saw yesterday, to rack up points. They have great players in Jarvis Landry and Lamar Miller. They have the attributes, I'm saying, but they just haven't put it together. But like you said, looking at their schedule, looking at it right now, it goes Raiders, Jaguars, Bills, Texans, Dolphins. Their next test, in my opinion, is December 6th against the Giants.
Yeah.
And that's saying something because the Giants aren't that good of a team. So,
You know what? The Raiders next week is a test
I was
also.
gonna
The
say-
Raiders are not bad.
Going to Oakland is not a cakewalk.
it isn't. It isn't.
Amari is
And
going to
they
win
did
Rookie of the
play a
Year
great game against the
offensively.
Chargers
And
yesterday.
Derek Carr has been unbelievable. I do expect them to win next week.
I'm saying then after that, they really
Home against Jacksonville,
take control.
they win. Home against Buffalo, I think they win that game also. At Houston, they really stink. Miami, you really don't know what you're going to get. Giants, you don't know what you're going to get. Home against the Titans.
Should win that game.
What?
Should win that game.
Titans?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Cowboys.
The
Oh,
final
depends.
three
Who
games
knows?
are hard.
Who
They play-
knows?
They play the Cowboys, Patriots, and Bills. That's going to be a hard 3-game test to finish
That
off
is
the
a
season.
tough
Yeah.
three-game set. That's a tough
But
three-game
if you
set.
play the way you know how to play and your defense keeps stepping up and everyone keeps producing, when they get to the Patriots, their second to last game at home, hopefully can have the chance to knock off the Patriots.
That could decide the division right there.
And
that game.
decide the division for themselves for once instead of having the Patriots always take the AFC East.
Yeah, I mean, how many are they 1-1 in the division?
Who?
The Jets 1.
They are.
Yeah, they're
1-1,
1-1
yeah.
in the division, and the Patriots were obviously undefeated.
Yes.
So, I mean, they have a shot. The Patriots are probably going to win the division.
Yeah.
But right now, the Jets are a playoff team, and are they benefiting from an easy schedule? I'm sure they are. They don't make the schedules though. We heard from the Mets all season long, the entire second half, easy schedule, easy schedule. Now they're in the World Series. We'll get into that in a couple of minutes also. But we said it a million times. You're in the playoffs, you have a shot. Doesn't matter who you play. If you're in the playoffs, you have a shot. And you know what? Right now, they're a playoff team. They're 4-2. They could go 7-3. They could be 6-2, 7-2. They can be 8-2. All of these games right here are all winnable.
Yeah.
Dude, they're not going to win all of those games because you just can't assume that. But these are all winnable games for the Jets. And I was telling Matt when we were walking up in the studio before. Last year they went 4-12. How many times did they lose by a touchdown? Against the Packers, they lost by a touchdown. Against the Lions, who were 12-4 last year, they lost by a touchdown. Against Chicago, they lost by a touchdown. Against Denver, they competed. I think they lost by 10 or 14 points. Against New England, they only lost by 2. They're this close from being a 9-7 team last year. And people, all they do is trash the Jets. A couple years ago, they were ranked last in power rankings. Were they really the worst team in the league 2 years ago?
Not even close.
No.
I said this before the preseason. Rex Ryan should be with the Jets, though. This is the team he was looking for.
Yeah,
this is the
I know.
team he needed.
Yep.
I think Rex Ryan is a great coach.
Well, what's going on in Buffalo? I mean, questions about the defense. I've never heard of that from
I
Rex
know.
Ryan.
No,
I know.
not at all. I mean, they're wavering a little bit, but the defense for the Jets right now, not granted, Todd Bowles is doing a great job with the Jets. He's doing an absolutely phenomenal job. But Rex Ryan with his defense, come on, it would be lights out. It
how much
is right
better can
now.
it get?
Exactly, but this would have been his team if he was still here, and this is what he was asking for, and he's probably giving a nice little salute to bad salute to the Jets owner right now.
Ryan Moore, Scott Thompson, Matt McFeely, Bees to the East on WRPR 90.3 FM. You can call in 201-825-1234, 201-825-1234. If you feel like calling, we'll hear from you after the commercial break. But before the commercial break, Scotty T, take us through.
All right, it was senior day for women's soccer as they honored all the seniors on Saturday at the athletic field. Nicole Niedermeyer, Alexa Ragusa, Jamie Towie, Autumn Herring, and Rebecca Galarza, all seniors, were honored before the game against City College in New York. They didn't disappoint as well as they crushed CCNY 9-0. Ragusa had 4 goals, Niedermeyer with 3 goals, and Galarza recorded her first 2 career goals. Lady Roadrunners will return to action this Wednesday as they take on Kane University in their final regular season home game, and me and Ryan will be on that call at 3 p.m. on WRPR. Women's tennis also finished their fall season in beautiful fashion, defeating Rutgers Camden 9-0. They finished the season 13-1, which is a Ramapo record. Field hockey beat Stockton 2-1 on Saturday thanks to 2 goals in the second half from Gianna Moscuri, that's a hard name to pronounce, nice. and Nicole Healy. On to the NFL, great rivalry games as we were talking about before, played for both New York squads. The Jets took on the Pats in Foxborough and were leading going to the fourth quarter until they allowed 2 touchdowns to ultimately lose 30-23. Brendan Marshall dropping a crucial, which would have been a game-tying touchdown. They're now 4-2, and they will travel to the West Coast to face the Oakland Raiders, who came off a big win against the Chargers yesterday. America's Game of the Week saw once again the Giants against the Cowboys at MetLife Stadium. The G-Men defense may not have halted the run game, but with the boys' backup QB, Matt Castle, making his first start this year, they made him pay. Forced him to throw 3 INTs, 2 taken away by Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, 1 for a pick 6. G-Men won 27-20, which marked their first win against the Cowboys since 2012. Now 4-3, they will travel to New Orleans to take on the Saints. And we can't forget about tomorrow night. Mets are back in the World Series, their first since the Subway Series of 2000. Edison Volquez and Matt Harvey will be on the bump in Kansas City for Game 1. First pitch, 8:07 on Fox. And right after commercial break, we'll talk about the Mets and what we think is going to happen in this World Series. You're listening to B-Sub East on WRPR 90.3 FM.
You're listening to WRPR.
You definitely forgot.
I always forget. So many things. You're going first.
Melissa texted me, turn off the mics. I can hear. Yeah, we left the mics on.
Whatever.
It's not the first time.
I didn't curse at all, so
You ready for my? You know the Beast of the Week process, right? Oh God.
All right. So the whole thing was I thought of this while in political science class last year. Beast of the Week is basically our top performer of the week. Could be anyone from any sport, whatever makes you happy. So think of one because I didn't. So I'm going last.
I will go first.
Good.
I'm going with my boy Nate Washington. Shout out to my dad for this fantasy pickup. Nate Washington had 2 touchdowns yesterday, about 100 or some yards, a lot of catches. Nate Washington's someone that you don't hear from very often, but yesterday he had a solid day. And again, shout out to my dad for benching Rashad Jennings and playing Nate Washington. I wasn't too big of a fan of that, but then kind of worked out for me.
You know who my beast
I still
is?
lost, but
You want to know who my beast is?
yeah.
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins yesterday.
You
was,
like that?
He was on his 10th gear, I think. And this guy is probably still pumped up. He probably didn't get an ounce of sleep yesterday. Kirk Cousins with the comeback. What was that, 24-point comeback against the Bucs?
Largest in Redskins history.
Largest Redskins history. This guy was an absolute animal yesterday. My cousin was at the game. He said tickets were $25. He went to the game. And Kirk Cousins put on a show. And afterward, if you didn't see it, look it up. Looks at the media and just goes, "You like that? You like that?"
Yeah, he was pumped.
The guy was pumped, and I loved it. Kirk Cousins, my beast of the week.
I'm going to go Stephon Diggs,
Wow.
Minnesota. I think he had 6 catches for 108 yards and a touchdown. And, I mean, hop on the waiver wire now and grab him.
My brother, yes, I said Stephon Diggs was a one-game wonder. My brother's like, no, he gets thrown to all the time. That's all Teddy Bridgewater throws to him. I'm like, he doesn't.
He had
That
great,
happened.
was that him with that catch yesterday?
Yeah.
That layout. Did you guys see whose catch was it? It was the ALCS on Saturday night.
I actually saw it the other day. I don't know who it was, though.
I
I
didn't
saw it on
watch
ESPN.
Unbelievable. I mean, it doesn't
Was
matter
it
anyway.
Pilar?
It might have been
What was
Pilar.
it? Usually
I
it's
think it was
Pilar.
Pilar. Why is it?
Don't all his catches look the same, though.
Literally, they all look the same.
Like, top 10 during the baseball season. It's like, you're
It's
really...
boring, yeah.
Yeah.
Why isn't this working?
What are you doing?
I'm trying to get the. You like that?
Wasn't quite Indy Chavez, but...
Wow, it's not working. Oh wait, hold on. This might be it.
Hurry up.
All right. While we wait for that, the New York Mets are in the World Series. They will take on the Kansas City Royals starting tomorrow night. Game 1 in Kansas City, 8 o'clock first pitch. It's Matt Harvey against Edison Volquez. I think the Royals, before we get into the Mets, real quick, I think the Royals are making a very good decision with starting Volquez. Cueto has not done much. And outside of that, the Royals really don't have much pitching. Volquez has pitched very well. And I think you got to leave him as your game 1 starter. He's fully rested. Cueto really hasn't done much. And when Cueto struggles, he struggles big time. I think the Royals made a very good choice in starting Volquez game 1.
Absolutely. Edison Volquez has displayed himself as the ace right now in this postseason. Johnny Cueto has not really liked to transition from the Reds to the Royals. His ERA is way up, especially in this postseason. I believe it was above 7 at one point, if it still is. But what I like, Ryan, you know that only one Royals starter has faced Matt Harvey?
Really?
Alex Rios has 1 hit and 3 at-bats. No one else has faced him in the last 5 years. I mean,
Well,
he
this
just-
is the
just
first
came
time
up.
the Mets have traveled to Kansas City in 11 years.
Yeah.
Only people that have not faced Edison Volquez that will start is Michael Conforto. Only person.
No way! No, that's ridiculous!
It's not ridiculous, Francesa.
That's ridiculous!
Only person. Yoenis Cespedes has a hit. Michael Goodire, 3 hits and 9 at-bats. Wilmer Flores, they've all faced him. Highest guy, guess what? Guess who has the highest average against Edison Volquez? Daniel Murphy has a 417 average and 12 at-bats.
That's ridiculous!
That's good. That's impressive.
Absolutely. So, I think that this game is working heavily on paper in the Mets' favor.
They were talking about it before on the Michael K show. Who has the advantage? Royals hitters or Mets pitchers?
Daniel Murphy.
Daniel Murphy.
No. This Royals lineup is relentless. These guys just know how to work at bats. You can never put these guys out 1, 2, 3. It always has to be a 4 or 5 pitch at bat. And with Matt Harvey on the mound, you're going to see obviously a lot of fastballs. And I said this to my dad and to my brother yesterday. They're like, oh, they're fastball hitters. But we saw that the Mets pitchers, second time through at least, have been throwing off speed first. They've been mixing it up, and they have to because this Royals team, they're just like them. They're young, they're competitive. They lost it last year, and they're back again, and they're you know that they're going to come guns hot because it's basically the same team except for a couple of people. So I think the Royals' bats, in my opinion, are definitely going to be a lot crucial.
Right.
I think in this series because you know that the Mets pitchers are going to pitch. So I think it's up to the Royals bats if the Royals want to come out champions in this World Series.
You're the Met fan.
The Royals bats have the advantage over Mets pitching just because if there's a team that's going to hit the heat of the young guns on the Mets, it's the Royals because those are the guys that put the ball in play. They'll shorten up their swings, and they play good baseball. They play small ball. The Mets don't face much of that. And the Mets, what's probably the worst aspect of the New York Mets game? Is it the hitting? No. It's certainly not the pitching. It's the fielding.
Yep.
So you could probably get the Mets to run into some trouble if you're putting the ball in play.
And the Royals do that.
Yeah.
The Royals make you pay for your mistakes. But I think the Mets pitching has the advantage because I think pitching always has the advantage. The hitters don't know what's coming. Can the Royals hit? Of course they can hit. But this Mets pitching staff is up there with the Braves in the 90s. They're up there with what other solid rotations are there? You know what's a very underrated rotation? The Marlins from like the early 2000s. Beckett, Burnett, Leiter, who was kind of on the back end of his career. Dontrelle Willis. They were unbelievable. But seriously, this Mets rotation, you can make the argument that it's one of the best of all time.
It's got to be.
And I don't think you can make that argument with the Royals. And pitching has the advantage. I don't care how bad of a pitcher you are. I don't care how good of a hitter you are. Pitching has the advantage because only the pitcher knows what you are throwing.
I think that just not even looking at it as who's going to win this series, look at it from a baseball fan aspect. This is great for the game of baseball.
Yep.
You have two young teams instead of the normal Cardinals, Yankees,
Dodgers.
Or exactly. You have the Royals and the Mets. 3 years ago, Ryan, would you say that the Royals and Mets even made the playoffs or even came close? No.
Mets postseason, maybe.
I'm saying this is just great for the game of baseball because it shows that these young guys, they have fire. I said this before when we were talking about the whole Jose Bautista bat flip thing. I loved it. I love how these young players are really changing the dynamics of this sport and not keeping it as traditional as it used to be.
Right.
And Rob Manfred is all for it.
Yep.
He loves it. He's anchoring this new movement of baseball, and I just love how these two young teams, two fiery teams, are in this, and I think it's going to be a great series to watch. I love it. I absolutely love it.
I think that this is going to sound insane.
Okay.
I think the Royals are overrated.
The Royals are overrated?
There is not one guy except Lorenzo Cain where I really look at their lineup and I say that I'm
exactly why they're not overrated.
Those are the teams that win championships. The teams that play together and they play with the chemistry that the Royals do. There's not that one guy.
Absolutely. I completely agree with Matt. You think they're overrated?
I don't know why. I just think they
Lorenzo
are.
Cain isn't even a top 15 outfielder in the league, in my opinion.
The guy can hit.
Guy can hit, yeah. But he's not... Look at Andrew McCutchen. You want to look at Jose Bautista. You really going to think that...
Oh, no, Lorenzo Cain isn't up there.
Exactly
why. But that's my point. I'm not like...
I don't think they're overrated. I think they've been underrated their entire lives, even last year.
I had them winning like 82 games.
Everyone said that the Royals were going to make the championship series in the beginning of the season.
And they
have proved throughout the whole season that they did it, and they're back again.
I just think
That's why they're not
I just
overrated,
think
in my
it's
opinion.
more chemistry than it is
They lived up to the hype.
star player.
Absolutely, and that's why
Use your nougat.
There you
I'm
go.
using my Nugan, and I'm saying
I
saying
don't
that
think I'm using my
They are
Nugan.
not an overrated team. Alex Gordon, Alcides Escobar, Lorenzo Kane, Gerard Dyson. These people, I didn't even know who they were last year. Literally, I had no clue who these
Right.
guys were. And yeah, we got to call it. Ooh.
I can't wait to hear this. All right, who's this? Where are you calling from?
Brandon from Mahwah, New Jersey.
Oh, hi, Brandon.
Hello, Brendan.
So
Hello, Brandon.
I don't get to talk about baseball on my show because George hates baseball. But
He loves the Mets. That's weird.
I was listening. About the Mets Royals and who has the advantage. The Mets hit the pitchers or the Royals hitters.
Okay.
And honestly, in my opinion, the Mets pitchers they have the advantage if they mix up their pitches because, like Scott said, they are fastball hitters. They love hitting the fastball, and like Matt said, they put the ball in play. And if the fielders don't make the plays, then the pitchers are at a disadvantage.
Yep. I
It
think
really all
that
comes down to if DeGrom showed it, because I thought before this series against the Dodgers, I thought that DeGrom was straight fastball, did not know how to mix up pitches. He proved me wrong 150%.
Yep.
So if they can all keep doing that, I don't see how this series is going to work well for the Royals. And the Royals pitching staff isn't, and it's good, but it's not great. And the Mets hitters have been absolutely tearing it up. I mean, obviously Murphy. But the other guys are playing really well. Right batting over 300, the 375, I think. Justin's having a little bit of trouble, and they need to get Duda out of the lineup. But I think that if the Mets pitchers can keep this offense in check and the fielding holds up, the Mets easily have the advantage.
Absolutely, Ryan. Brandon, I mean,
Brandon.
I'm saying Ryan before Brandon said, Brandon, Ryan said before that the Mets pitching staff is probably one of the best of all time. And I think, honestly, I don't disagree with them, but I think they're going to definitely prove to people that that's the case because if they can come into this series and put out these Royals hitters, they're going to have to spot the ball. They're going to have to switch it up. And if they can completely silence the Royals' bats, I think you can definitely make a standpoint of that. So this Mets pitching is definitely, they're going to have to prove again that they are the best rotation in the league.
You know what I love about the Mets pitching? Even when the Mets pitching doesn't have it, they're still pitching. The Mets will not get blown out one game because even when DeGrom doesn't have his stuff, when Harvey doesn't have his stuff,
They still have their
battle.
stuff.
They don't give up more than they don't give up more than 3 runs.
They produce quality innings.
And that's why they
You can
have the
expect at
that's
least
why
6
they have
innings
the
out of
advantage.
every single one of these pitchers.
Yep, because they have stamina, they have the stuff, and
Love it.
I think it's kind of hard to say they're the best pitching staff like ever. Like I don't know if I'm saying ever. Like they compare to those other ones. Yes, we also have to remember this is their first year together.
Yeah.
Let's see if the continued success continues before declaring them Glavine, Maddox, and Smoltz.
right.
And like I
That
said,
is without a doubt. We could see in 5 years that these guys are still getting them back to the World Series.
Then you can make that comparison.
great point,
And
Brandon.
you can make the comparison.
Right.
Great point.
Right now, they're the best in the league. They're the best pitching staff in the MLB. When fully healthy, all 5 of them, that is the best pitching staff in MLB without a doubt in my mind. The Cardinals is a close second, but that pitching staff is unbelievable.
Yeah, but and like I said, Mets fans in general, I've said this before, don't spaz out. Matt, don't spaz out if they don't win because they're going to be back here in the next 5 years.
Are they?
You
Yes.
can't say that. You can't say that about anything.
I think they will be. In my opinion, I think they'll be back in the situation, at least back in the playoffs.
See, I hate talking about this because you and I say it all the time. Don't worry about next year, but
I don't think it's going to be. Listen, I think that the Mets, I said this, Mets in 6. I said Mets Royals before the championship series started, Mets Royals, Mets in 6. I expect them to win this.
Someone recently asked me if I would be disappointed or crushed if the Mets lost in the World Series, which is a tough question because obviously they were not supposed to be here. But my team's in the World Series.
you throw out expectations when the moment is here.
And you look at a guy like David Wright. Is this gravy for David Wright? No. David Wright has to win a World Series. Terry Collins has been in baseball for 45 years. He hasn't even sniffed a World Series till this year. This has to be the year. I think the Mets are a team of destiny. I think the Mets are going to win the series. But
Yeah.
Okay, now that I look at it from that standpoint, I might want to be quiet now.
today,
No, it's true.
thinking about it today, it has to be this year. After the season, we can salivate over the fact that we're going to have Harvey, DeGrom, Syndergaard, Matz and Wheeler next year, that's insane.
That's awesome.
They're all under
Unbelievable.
the age of 30. All throw basically over 95.
Over 105.
No, but I think they're definitely going to be back in the playoffs. In the World Series, no, I should refine what I just said.
Yeah, the bats obviously you need to get Cespedes. I think you give him a blank check. What do you want? But the guy, he's the reason, right? Cespedes, I don't know if anyone realizes, Cespedes is the reason why Murphy's having the career series playoffs he's having. If Cespedes was not protecting Murphy in that lineup, then we don't know if Murphy would be doing what he's doing right now.
I'm a little worried about Cespedes.
What?
I'm not worried about Cespedes because you know that he, first of all, is now facing AL pitching, who he's seen before, and Yoenis Cespedes now took a break. The Mets sweeping was great because now he got a break. He can sit down. He can reevaluate his swing, look at what he's been doing wrong, which has been swinging in every pitch thrown to him, and try to create quality at bats now. He's done it before. He was the spark for this Mets team after that trade, and I think he's definitely going to prove it again in the World Series. I'm not that worried about Yoenis Cespedes.
Right before I get out of here, because I have a class, obviously. The Mets easily, in my opinion, win this series.
Agreed.
Easily. Obviously, every game is
I wouldn't say easily.
No.
Game
I think they win this series
I said
if
6.
the pitching obviously holds up and doesn't allow a lot of runs because they don't know. Like, I was just thinking about when you guys were talking. Like, the Royals pitching staff, decent. They're throwing. Who they throwing game one? They're throwing.
It goes Volquez, Cueto, Ventura right now.
Well, we have Harvey going game one. Harvey beats Volquez game one. Then game two becomes a must win for the Royals because you can't go down 2-0. You don't go down 2-0 going back to New York. It doesn't work like that. You got to win that game. And then Johnny Cueto in game 3, he was off, and then he was on, and then he was off. You never know what you're getting out of Cueto. And then if they have to go back to Volquez again on 3 or 4 days rest, I think the Mets win this series. They could win in 5.
They could. They really could.
They will because I think the Royals are too seasoned and their bats are too good. But I think I'm going to go Mets in 6, and then that's my prediction for the series.
Brandon, before you go, I never said your stat. Go ahead and say it.
Oh, this is something that kind of scares me though. It's a stat that a team that has lost in Game 7 the previous season and then makes it back to the World Series the next season is 5-0 in the second World Series.
I don't think that bothers me too
I
much.
don't care. That's almost like last year when we said the Rangers never lost a Game 7 at home.
Yeah.
Something to think about. Getting back to the World Series does matter. I think our experience matters in the World Series. Biggest stage of your profession, it matters a little bit.
I think making the comeback matters, but I don't think experience matters at all.
Yeah, I actually think ignorance is bliss when it comes to this. I mean, you have like these young guns in the Mets. They don't care. They don't care if you've been there before.
What do we have to lose? We still have years here.
I don't think has anyone on the Mets besides Uribe won a title. I don't think anyone.
I don't know.
Of course not.
Curtis Granderson wasn't
No.
with the Yankees.
Granderson never won. Kelly Johnson never won. Cologne never won.
I don't know about that.
Cologne never won a World Series. I looked it up.
Positive.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I'm getting out of here, guys. See you later.
All right. See you later. My prediction. I think the Mets are winning. I really can see them sweeping. I really do. I really do. They took
Kansas
down.
City's hard to play.
That's because you hate
And the
Royals.
Cubs. What did they do against the Cubs? I mean, the
The
Cubs.
Cubs were completely outpowered. Bats,
Right.
I don't care. Like I said for the Cubs too, they're definitely going to be back in the playoffs. They're also a young team. They finally solidified themselves. Yeah. They brought everyone up. Solaire's up. Baez is up. They're going to be back. But the Mets are just better right now. They're just a better team right now. So yeah, I don't think you can even look at that Cubs series and say anything about that.
See, I think you can because I think the Cubs are more of an offensive powerhouse than the Royals are. The Cubs won 97 games. They played in the NL Central. I think the Cubs were a better team than the Royals. Again, I still think the Royals are.
I also want you to
little
look at
bit
how many times
overrated.
Castro, Rizzo.
Goodness gracious!
There you go.
I want to see you look at how many times Castro, Rizzo, and Bryant struck out. These
That's
guys
true.
are hit or miss players.
That's why I said that works to the Mets' advantage. The fact that they were a more of an offensive powerhouse. I'd rather face that.
Because they
If I'm a
strike
pitcher.
out, and then you don't have to worry about the
Yeah,
Mets fielding.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So now you have Gerard Dyson. Lorenzo Cain will put down a bunt if he has to. We know he can hit for power. Eric Hosmer, Alex Gordon, Mike Moustakas. These guys are guys that put the ball in play. They have great eyes. except for Salvador Perez. You knew that last year, swinging at 5 or 6 fastballs above the strike zone to end,
Yeah, that was a little rough.
end that Game 7. But this team can definitely, like we said, put the ball in play. They create good at-bats. They make you pitch. They want to make you go to the bullpen. And we'll see what happens if that's the case.
That's what the Royals are best at. The Royals are very good at taking advantage of mistakes.
Yeah.
They're very good at outplaying. They know how to outplay you. They just won't go up there and try to outplay you. Like, they know how to do
They're
it.
the quintessential fundamental team in the league. Catch the ball when they need to. They throw you out when they need to. They place down a bunt, sack fly. They know how to play the game. They know how to get wins. And that's why I don't think the Mets are going to have a blowout. That you said, what, you think they can really do it in 5? Of course they could, but I just don't see it happen. I think the earliest would be Game 6 if they can beat them. What do you think, Matt?
I'm taking Mets in 6.
What do you do with Steven Matz?
You start him. You start him.
Definitely start him.
You start Steven Matz, yeah. But you do what you did last series, where it was kind of like the day before he was going to start. It was like, well, if we need him out of the bullpen, we'll take him out of the bullpen. You know, he can go either way.
It's true. I honestly think that Steven Matz has to start because
I agree.
you can't let Matt Harvey be on just 3 days rest. I think you need to give him a little bit more time to develop. I think that you have the system. It's worked. Don't change it now, in my opinion. So
All right, so
Leave
Mets
the way
in
it is.
6.
Mets in 6.
I don't see this game going 6 games.
Really?
I don't.
What do you think it, Ben?
I think Mets in 4 or 5. I really do.
Okay.
I think that their rotation is that good.
I hope you're right.
I mean, their rotation.
I hope you're right too, so I don't have to see Mike pace around his room anymore.
You're gonna tell me you don't like that?
No, because he starts throwing stuff when something happens.
So that's being a fan. His team's in the World Series. What's so bad
I
about
want to
that?
throw stuff at you, but anyway.
Coming from a Yankee standpoint, though. Ready for this? No, not
What are
27.
the Yankees?
Not 27. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm so miserable.
Go ahead.
Yankees beat the Royals 4-2 in the season series.
Oh, I hate this.
Yankees beat the Mets 4-2 in the season series. Yankees 2015 World Series
Couldn't win a
champions.
wild card game.
28 titles.
This is why I hate Yankee fans.
Well, I never said that. Can you shut your mic off, please?
What was that?
Can you shut your mic off?
What was that?
Congrats to the Mets, though. They beat
27. Talk
Shut
to us
up.
when you get 20.
Shut up. I'm a Yankees fan saying congrats to the Mets.
Oh,
And I'm rooting for
thanks,
you all the way.
See-
I have been. We and Ryan have been rooting for the Mets this
You know,
entire
you know what I hate?
love it.
How Yankee fans are saying, how can you root for the Mets, blah, blah, blah. How can
I
Yankee
agree.
fans
No,
root
no,
for the
no.
Royals?
No. Listen, if I go into work the next day and I want to rub it in Yankee fans' faces that I won the World Series and they want to celebrate with me, I don't want that. I want Yankee fans to be Yankee fans and I want Met fans to be Met fans. I don't really want Yankee fans behind Met fans. Because if the Yankees won the World Series, I would be rooting against the Yankees. I root against the Yankees every day.
I mean,
I like where he comes from
Because
we were
he's a Met fan.
You were listening to LeGrec and he said the same thing. I'm not going to change the way it is, but
I do it because, like, once the Yankees are out of it, I just throw away unless if it's like the Red Sox.
if I didn't have anything to root for, I wouldn't be watching it. And I'm not going to root against a New York team. I'm a Devils fan, and I was rooting for the Rangers these past 2 years.
I don't understand that either.
I do it because, as much as I am a fan of a team, I'm a fan of the sport also.
That's the thing.
Yeah, but you root for the Mets to get there and play against the Royals. But then why are you behind the Mets more than any other team? What about the Cubs?
The Cubs I was rooting for over the Mets.
Okay,
That wasn't a question.
I love living in it. Yes, I'm a fan of a team, but like you said, I love the sport. I love what the Mets are doing for this sport. I'm not going to root against what they're doing.
And it's not necessarily that like I'm rooting for the Mets. It's more of put a gun to my head. Then that's the situation. If the Mets lose the World Series, I don't care.
I'm not going to lose
I
sleep
don't
over it,
care.
obviously.
I'm
well.
not going to sleep for a year. I'm going to lock myself in my room and cry, actually.
right? Exactly. But like the Met fans to the Yankees, it's different. The Met fans have had to see. This is just coming from. I'm not trying to brag about the Yankees. It's just the truth. The Yankees have been the big brother, and that's just how it is. The reason why Met fans hate the Yankees and their fans is because the Yankees are the best franchise of all time, and the Mets have to live in the Yankee shadow. And Yankee fans are saying, like, how can you root for the Mets? It's the rivalry, blah, blah, blah. It's more than being a Yankee fan. Met fans, they root for the Yankees to lose because they just expect the Mets to be out, I guess, with the exception of this year. For me, though, once the Yankees are out, whatever other teams do, it has no effect on the Yankees anyway. So why care so much?
No, it's just it just feels like this is finally the Mets moment, and then
It's destiny.
I have to celebrate with Ryan Morik instead of me being able to brag about it. I don't like that. I want Yankee fans to be Yankee
Well, you
fans.
can still, you
I was the
you can
first.
still brag
Come
about
on, that's harsh. When the Mets clinched the NL East, he tweeted to like 100 people, like, "This
Ryan
is
Morik
it,
was the first
finally."
one.
I was the first one.
Only Yankee fan in the thing. Yeah, because Ryan talks baseball with me all throughout the season. We're
Okay.
talking like going back to like April when nobody else wants to watch a game. So
People hate baseball.
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm that guy. I guess you're gonna. I'm not gonna celebrate. I'm gonna say congrats. But
I appreciate that.
I just
I'm not gonna be like Mets, like let's go. Like I'm not
I
gonna be
appreciate
super
what
pumped.
teams do for the sport, and
You got to root for
I'm
the
not
story.
gonna say like my cousin. Well, before we go real quick, like last year with the Rangers, he was rooting for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't care about the Tampa Bay Lightning.
The Lightning just won.
I live in New York.
I'm
I'm not going to root for a team in Tampa Bay. I'm sorry. I'm going to root for the New York team. I
I
don't.
don't even think it's about being. I mean, I root for the New York team so we could do a show about it.
Yeah.
But not necessarily for the fandom.
Yeah, but it's just I don't know. I just
Not
don't.
rooted for the Rangers because, well, I'm one of 3 Devil fans in my entire family, so I was rooting for my family to be happy.
All my
And
friends are
2,
Ranger fans, basically. It's
exactly, you
just-
want people to be happy, and you root for
I'm not
the
gonna
story.
root.
It's that simple. Thank you for tuning in. Beast of the East, Ryan Warwick, Scott Thompson, Matt McFeely. Shouts to Matt's fiance, Allie, who's been sitting there very patiently for an. I'm really sorry.
We went 4 minutes over too.
Hate sports.
It's okay.
She's a Bills fan.
What?
She's a Bills fan.
All right.
It is.
Let it be.
Well, anyway, shouts out to Allie for sitting there very patiently. We're finally getting done, don't worry. Ryan Warwick, Scott Thompson, Matt McFeely, thanks again for tuning in. Scott and I will be on the air, women's soccer against Kane University at 3 o'clock here on WRPR. So, see you then on Wednesday. Right after that, you can catch us back on the airwaves on Beast of the East, 6 o'clock. It is not goodbye. It is see you later. Take care, everybody.